everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Talk with an Angel. I'm Angel McGinnis, host of the show. On today's show, we are pleased to have as our guest the Chief of the Penn Hills Police Department, Howard Burton. Let's give Chief Burton a hand as we welcome him to the show. Welcome to Talk with an Angel, Chief.
Thank you, Angel. Appreciate being here.
Thank you. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to becoming the Chief of Police?
Gladly. It was kind of strange. I originally started out working at a paper mill, and then I went to the military. And when I came back from the military, I went back to the paper mill, and I realized that wasn't a career job for me. And I heard that the Penn Hills Police Department was taking tests for a police department. I finished a midnight shift at the paper mill, went to take the test the next morning, passed the test, and eventually was hired as a patrol officer. Once I became the patrol officer, at that point in time, the federal government came out with what they called a LEAP program, L-E-E-P, and that was paying for college for law enforcement officers. Being as I grew up in a family where my father was a construction worker, I had no plans of going to college, just couldn't afford it. And this was an opportunity afforded to me to attend college. So I began college education, going to night school. I received my associate's degree from Boyce campus, Allegheny County Community College. Transferred those credits to the University of Pittsburgh, where I finished my bachelor's degree.
Good school.
I continued on and finished my master's degree at the University of Pittsburgh. So all total, I went to college night school for 10 years to get my master's degree. And at that point in time, I still worked as a police officer, moving up through the ranks, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, and eventually in 1999, I was made chief of police in Penn Hills.
That's great. And University of Pitt is a wonderful school.
Thank you.
I think because I went there too, so yeah.
Okay.
Gotta. Now, when did the police department form, and how many police chiefs have there been?
Actually, the department in Penn Hills started in 1927. That's when it was established. And there have been 4 chiefs of police. There was Chief Moran, Chief Arnold, Captain Sochoka, who ran the department with the title of captain, and then myself when I became chief in 1999.
Now, what is the mission of the Penn Hills Police Department?
We actually we have a mission statement that, in fact, the folks can actually go to our Penn Hills Police webpage. It's called PennHillsPoliceDepartment.com. It's an excellent webpage. One of our younger officers approached me and asked if we could start a webpage, and this was probably about 3 years ago. He did an excellent job. The webpage is full of great information, old-time photographs of the police department from back in the 40s, 50s. So if your listeners would like to go to that webpage, would appreciate a ton of information. But within that is our mission statement, which if you give me a moment, I'll read to you.
Sure.
I'd put my cheaters on that. But anyway, the mission of the Penn Hills Police Department is to enhance the quality of life in Penn Hills by working in partnership with the community. We will accomplish our mission by enforcing the laws with impartiality and courtesy while fostering a feeling of safety and security. Penn Hills police officers will provide quality police services to all persons within the municipality of Penn Hills. In addition to the mission statement, we have mission goals, which state we are there to identify criminal activity, pursue and apprehend criminal offenders, and proceed in the prosecution of known offenders, to maintain a protective, patrol, and investigative force, and to reduce the opportunity to commit crime. We also want to perpetuate a sound managerial environment that focuses upon department goals and provides for career development through training, advancement, and recognition for exemplary performance. To instill public confidence in the agency by maintaining a high degree of professionalism, dedication, and expertise in the development of the police service. And we are very strong in forming this mission. Most of our officers, all of our officers actually know what that is. And we strive to the community, to work with the community, to provide the service they deserve.
That's great. Now, how large is the police force, and how many minority and women are officers there?
We have 53 officers on the police department. We have 3 females. We have 2 African American males. We have 1 Asian Pacific individual, and we also have 1 Hispanic individual.
Okay. So there is some diversity within it.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a code of ethics for the police officers? If so, what is it?
Yes, we do have a code of ethics. That's also found on our webpage.
On our webpage as well?
Right there you can read it. I'll cut to the chase and read it for you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, the Penn Hills Police Officer has a code of ethics. Each member of the Penn Hills Police Department will adhere to the following values statement throughout their career with this agency. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression and or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence and disorder. I will respect the constitutional rights of the persons to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain calm in the face of danger, scorn, and ridicule, maintain self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. I will be honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life, and will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and regulation of this department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature, or that is confident to me in my official capacity, will be kept secret unless relevant and it's necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit my personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I will accept it as a public trust to be of help so long as I am true in the ethics of police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself to my chosen profession, law enforcement. That code of ethics is very important, and our officers do adhere to that code of ethics.
And everything is on the website, so if you do want to read through it yourself, you can always go on the Penn Hills Police website. I'm sorry, I almost said Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
Now, since this is a new year, can you tell us what the top 3 priorities are?
Well, at this point, we're in the position of moving into a new municipal complex, which will include the municipal building, the police department, and the EMS building. It's in the process now as we speak. They're working on the interior, and we hope to make the move to that new facility in May, which isn't too far away. So that is a big project to move that many people and equipment and technology into that building. That's one of the main priorities we're looking at. Also, I plan on continuing the training with our officers. We stated in our mission statement, I'm big on training. The officers have to have training. It's ongoing constantly. The way times change today and requirements today, it's a big plus to have the officers trained, to act appropriately. And thirdly, the other issue I'm looking at right now is the issuance of body cameras for each of the officers. I'm sure you're aware of throughout the country the incidents happening with body cameras. And the only thing that was holding us up to this point was the state legislature in Pennsylvania. There were some issues there that we weren't sure when the officers could actually record in a home or not in a home, when they had to turn the cameras on and off. So that was a concern. Legislature responded to our requests and our needs, and they wrote legislation that's very positive for both the police and the public. So now that those issues were clarified, we will be buying the body cameras for the officers, and again, training and writing a policy on the use of those body cameras. The new building will be on Duff Road. Most people are familiar with Duff and Frankstown, where McDonald's is, where the old Penn Junior High School was. That's where the new building will be.
And when will the body cameras be kind of put in place?
At this point in time, I'm waiting for a grant. I applied for a grant, and once that grant comes in, we will purchase the cameras.
What achievements have you in the police department made that you are most proud of?
I think one of the biggest things, we looked at our mission statement and our ethics, and I think the biggest thing I'm proud of is our officers here in Penn Hills. They're a young bunch of fellas and girls, and basically they perform well in the community, and again, based on their training, education. we do have a diverse community in Penn Hills, and I think our officers get along very well with the community, and I think that's reflected by the support that our police department has from the community. It's amazing how many folks will come up and bring cookies, candy, bring up breakfast, things of this nature, just to support the officers and show goodwill towards the officers. And likewise, our officers relate to the public that way. And I think that's one of my biggest goals, and it's being achieved.
And that's great. So definitely a big accomplishment, because you want the community and law enforcement to actually, not necessarily work together, but really just get along.
Correct.
With all the things that you see in the news nowadays. So that's actually good that that is what's going on. Now, what are some of the day-to-day challenges your officers face?
I guess people don't realize the job as a police officer is very dangerous. And they go out and they never know what they're walking into. It's a situation, the officers, the least simple minor call, if you will, can turn in an instant and be deadly. And it's the stress that's put on these officers daily. And again, we don't dwell on that. You know, you can't become paranoid, but it's always there. It's always a danger that they're facing. Not we as Penn Hills Police Department, but the law enforcement community this year so far, it's only February, there have been approximately 6 police officers killed in the line of duty already this year throughout the country. So it's a real issue and it's a problem. But it's a day-to-day stress the officers put themselves into and under. And then it spreads out to the family members. You know, it's just not the officer on the street, the wives, the husbands, the children, parents. It's a stress for the whole family. It's a deal the officers have to learn to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, you literally put yourself on
Right. Right. Right.
Now, this is what's been, really big in the news lately, and that's that opioid.
Yes.
I deal with it even in my own job. So can you tell us if the Penn Hills community is facing the same problems with opiates as well as like other communities?
Yes, we are. Like you said, it's crossing all boundaries as far as where you live, the various demographics of the individuals, the ages, although we find that the majority of our opiate overdoses are pretty much 30 to 50 years old, believe it or not. It's unfortunate that we're dealing with that, and I have some numbers here there that we recently passed this August of 2017. We've issued all of our officers Narcan. Yes, I'm a mind reader. But no, we do have a Narcan, and from August of 17 until December of 17, our officers actually saved 2 people using the Narcan. We also have our own paramedics here in Penn Hills, full-time paramedics. In combination with the medics and the police, we've saved 12 people with the Narcan, and in that short period from August to December. So yes, it is a problem. It's a national problem, and we're doing the best we can to deal with it. And we're reaching out for help from all the different federal agencies. You can see now that they are acting legislation. Yeah.
Now, how bad is the overall drug problem?
Again, we look at this as a problem. It depends on where you live. You know, if it's on your street, it's a major problem.
Yeah.
If it's a neighbor's street, not too big a problem. Right. Yeah. So it's there. And we have a division in our Penn Hills Police Department consisting of 3 officers that work nothing but narcotics. And they also work in conjunction with the Attorney General's office, the FBI in cases, DEA. So we have task force. You've seen about task force throughout the country. Well, we also work in task force. So over the course of the year, last year for actually 2017, our officers in conjunction with the task force, we made 156 arrests in Penn Hills on drug investigations. Some of them were major dealers. Now, that being said, out of those 156 arrests, 73 were residents in Penn Hills. The other 83 were not residents. You know, they were coming in, whatever it may be, transients, things of that nature. So we are on top of it the best we can be. We're battling the drugs naturally, and so it's a misnomer to look at Penn Hills a lot of times and say, look at Penn Hills, what's going on there. We're a very large community, one of the largest in Pennsylvania as far as a community. Right. We cover about 20 square mile and have a population of about 42,000 people. So it's a very large community compared to others. So these numbers may be skewed, say, oh, look how large those numbers are, but you have to put it in perspective with how large the community is.
And this is kind of alluding to the next question, but which was, in comparison to other communities, how safe is Penn?
Actually, you know, in my opinion, it's a nice, safe community. It's still the bedroom community that it was originally designed to be. We have a lot of homeowners who have a vested interest in the community because they have property here. And actually, there was a company called safehome.org. I've never heard of them before, but they reached out to us, actually to our management, municipal management. And they did a study throughout the country, not just in Pennsylvania, but throughout the country. And what they do, they break down crime statistics, population, and they have figures that they use. And for Pennsylvania, with a population, communities with a population of 39,000 or above in Pennsylvania, Penn Hills was the 16th safest community in Pennsylvania. So I'm rather proud of that, and we didn't know these folks existed. We're glad they came to us to explain that to us, because we always knew it was a safe community, but we couldn't put any numbers to it. No, exactly. Right. So this company did that, and we're very grateful to them for that.
Now, we've had a couple of shows on sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Does Penn Hills have a problem with trafficking?
Okay, I did look at your shows, and we did a training for officers throughout the whole Commonwealth. I may go off on a tangent a little bit, but to explain where I'm coming from, all police officers in Pennsylvania have to undergo 12 hours of mandatory training every year, and that is established by the Municipal Police Officers Training Commission. Approximately 3 years ago, we actually had a 4-hour block on sex trafficking for the officers. So every officer in the Commonwealth has been exposed to training about sex trafficking, what to look for, and things of that nature. And that being said, Penn Hills, as far as I'm concerned, I know at this point we do not have a problem with sex trafficking. And I can allude that to the fact that we don't have hotels or motels in Penn Hills. We don't have the truck stops in Penn Hills, which, if you remember your other shows, that was drawing points for the sex trafficking, right? So we don't have either one of those variables to draw it. Now, there are indicators that sometimes some of these shops, the nail shops, things of that nature, may have trafficking of that nature, but we are not aware of that in Penn Hills.
Or even just kind of the little signs that'll be out there to point out to kids.
Right.
To show, so-and-so's hiring this much money.
Right.
Are those around anywhere? I know.
You see, mostly you see someone selling houses, or you see someone working for minimum wage, but you don't see it that often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does Penn Hills have a curfew?
Yes, we do. It was enacted a number of years ago. It's anyone under 18.
Okay.
That means include 17-year-olds. They're under 18. Sundays through Thursdays, from 10:30 p.m. until 6 a.m. is a curfew. Now on Friday nights and Saturday nights they give them an extra hour, so they can be from 11:30 until 6. And then naturally there are exceptions for those youngsters who are working at different stores, get out late from after those times, or coming back from a school function or something of that nature, going home after the school function. So there are variables there, but we do have the curfew.
Now, having that curfew, does that help with the problem with youth crime?
Well, actually, yes. With the youth crime in Penn Hills, you know, it's kind of, it's funny to say this, but the most problem we have is runaways. The kids leaving home, running away. As far as when I was a patrolman, we used to have the beer parties, the keg parties, we'd be arresting the kids. We don't see that anymore. I don't know what it is, if the kids are all into the technology now, staying at home or on Facebook or whatever they may be doing. We don't see the kids out roaming at nights or hanging around.
Yeah, I know when I was younger, we would be outside, but nowadays the kids don't really be outside.
No.
They're more so attached to their phones.
Exactly.
Now, does the police department have a presence in the schools?
Yes, we have a contract with the schools. Some school districts have school resource officers. They have an officer assigned to that school. For a number of years now, what we do, we have a contract with the school that we assign an officer to the school on a random basis. They're every day, but they're different officers. So they're there about 6 hours a day in the high school. We have an officer there.
Now, what can the parents do if the child is experiencing bullying in school? Should they go to the police officer?
Well, actually, we advise the parents to deal with the school first, because it is a school issue, depending on the nature of the bullying and the extent and how serious it really is. But we do refer the parents to the school. At that point in time, if it's a major issue where it's really threatening to the child, physical abuse, things of that nature, not just a bullying, but the threatening abuse, we'll then take action and intervene as far as law enforcement and find what charges we can legitimately file on these individuals. But the school is very cooperative with us and us with them. And what happens in most cases in the bullying situation, the school will transfer the kids to different rooms, do what they can to separate them, and then monitor what's going on there.
That's good to know. Now, how does someone file a police report a crime, or speak with an officer?
With the new system, I'd say new system, it's probably been around for 18, 13 years now, but you have to dial 911. I know people are funny about that. They'll say, well, it's not really an emergency. I don't want to dial 911. It's an emergency number. But that is a way to contact the police, no matter what the issue is. Because of it being a computer-generated system, and we work by numbers, every call gets a number so we can follow up and track it. So no matter how minor the call you may think it is, you have to dial 911 to get it in the system so we have a number, and then we can track it and follow it.
Since there is a website, can you also go on the website?
No.
Okay.
No. You cannot request police from the website. You can read what's going on, different things like that, but no, you have to go through 911.
Okay. And this you kind of answered this a little bit, but if it's not a non-emergency, could you still go and speak with someone?
Yes, we have walk-ins. You can walk into the police department, walk in the front door, and the way it's set up for Penn Hills, when you walk into the lobby, there's a red telephone on the wall. You pick up the red telephone, and it goes directly to County 911. Don't have to dial. It's a hotline. So you go right into the county, explain you'd like to speak with an officer, you'd like to file a report, and we'll dispatch an officer to the police station to take that report.
Now, what can a community do to help and support the police department?
Actually, this goes back to originally when we did crime watch and things of that nature. The public are the eyes and ears of the police department. We need their help. We can only be so many places to ride around and answer calls, things of that nature. But we tell people, and especially now what you find with the after 9/11 and the terrorist attacks and things like that, the education going out to the public is, if you see something, say something. And we follow that. The public's our eyes and ears, and they call us. And again, I can't speak high enough for the community in Penn Hills. The residents always call us. The least little thing. I mean, it's their neighborhood, and something's out of, they say, well, wait a minute, that car doesn't belong here. They're calling us. And that's what we need. We need to support the community to help keep the community safe.
Now, when we come back, we will ask Chief Burton about what will happen with the old building. We'll be right back after these quick messages.
Become an Angel partner today. When you partner with Angel, you are among a special group of people who stand alongside her to see more lives changed through her informative show. Your faithful monthly support will enable Angel to reach youth all around the world. You can become an Angel partner by making a monthly pledge of $25 or more, and you will receive our Angel Pack that includes a backpack, mug, and t-shirt. Just go to our website and donate today. And thank you in advance for becoming an Angel partner.
Are you looking for truth?
Finding truth in our society can be difficult. Everyone seems to have their own version and standards. But is truth really subjective, or is it based on something more concrete? Discover truth at New Vision Community Church this Wednesday at 7 p.m. or Sunday at 11 a.m. as we begin a search for universal truth that can help us live better lives. Begin your search for truth with us and the Bible.
Welcome back to Talk with an Angel. I'm your host, Angel McGinnis. And our special guest is Chief Howard Burton from the Penn Hills Police Department. How can I get that out? Now that we're back, can you tell us about the new building that is being constructed for the Penn Hills Police Department? Just a little bit more. I know we already kind of talked about it, but what will happen to the old building?
Well, the plans at this point, they're looking for grant money, they being the municipality,
Okay.
and the intent at this point is to probably level the old building because that's why we're moving. It's
Yeah,
an old
it's
building,
old.
it can't really be sold. It's roof's leaking, plumbing's bad, everything,
no,
like a
yeah.
house would be. Well, the building's over 50 years old, so at this point their plan is to level that building and build a gazebo, a large gazebo,
Okay.
with the monuments still there around it to make it like the center of town. So if you're familiar with Penn Hills, all of our parades, all our town functions take place there, and they continue to do that then. So in the future, all our parades, it'll still be the center of town, we'll still have the parades going through that section. And it'll be a nice area for the residents to go. I think they're planning on putting in flower beds, things of that nature, to make it a nice area, the town center.
Somewhere to just kind of sit there and
Right.
relax even sometimes. Now, can you tell us about the Citizens Police Academy?
Yes. A number of years ago, we had a police academy, and it kind of went by the wayside. And one day, a neighbor of mine, she was out walking her dog, saw me in the yard, and stopped and basically said that she had just attended a police academy in the city of Pittsburgh and really enjoyed it and wondered why we didn't do one. So that prompted it to say, well, why don't we? So I got in touch with Chief Doug Cole from Monroeville. They have a training facility there that is in conjunction with the FBI. So I approached him with the idea, and we decided to start a police academy again. So at this point, we do 2 a year,
Okay.
and we're starting our 14th police academy. So we've been doing it for 7 years now. Fact is, our next one will start in April the 4th, coming up.
Okay.
So again, the folks can go to our webpage and file an application and meet the criteria. It tells you everything. So it's been fun. The people enjoy it. We take about 15 to 20 people, and they do the criminal law, do search and seizure. We have the crime lab come out, and they show how to process a crime scene. They have a skid car out there where folks actually drive the police car, and it's computer generated, so they can actually lose control and slide. And,
That actually sounds fun.
and then yeah, people love that. And finally, the last day, they do the firearms. They actually fire a handgun, a shotgun, and an AR-15 at a regular range, and they get to shoot those guns. They get to experience some of the shoot-don't-shoot scenarios that the officers train. And we have all of our police, our training officers, train the civilians, just like they train our police personnel. And it's a lot of hands-on, and the people really enjoy it. They really do.
Good. And again, you can go right to the website to get more information. Now, does your police department still have a community crime prevention meetings? And if so, what typical things are discussed?
Well, actually, we used to do a monthly crime prevention meeting with the crime prevention officer. And again, through time and attrition, it got to the point where people weren't showing up. You know, people were too busy, couldn't make it, or you get the same 1 or 2 people showing up. So for the cost involved with it and make sure we had enough people involved, we try to do it quarterly now.
Okay.
Through different areas. We used to try to use a fire hall in that community, that area, and we'll advertise it. And then the folks will come from that community and go to that fire hall quarterly.
Now, outside of your current building, well, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but there's a beautiful monument for the fallen officers, and Can you kind of just speak a little bit more on the monument and the fallen officers it honors?
Yes. Our original memorial we built in 1973, I believe. We lost 2 police officers, Sergeant William Schrott and Officer Bart Conley. They were both shot and killed in the old East Hill Shopping Center. And I say old because the shopping center is no longer there.
Yeah,
It's been leveled.
but I know where you're
it's
talking
right.
about.
Yeah. They were shot and killed on a Saturday afternoon, March of 1972. At that point, the police department officers, we took a donation, threw money in, and we built a memorial, a black granite memorial honoring those 2 officers. Unfortunately, we lost another officer, Michael Crawshaw, in December of 2009, and a group of officers and civilians and family members of Officer Crawshaw and Bart and Bill got together and raised funds to build a memorial honoring all 3 officers. And as a result, what we have there is what you see, the beautiful monument there, with on each side still have the black granite from the original, and the officer in the middle. And that was designed to honor those officers.
That's nice. It's definitely nice to honor those who lost their lives in the line of duty. Now, I kind of already think I know the answer to this one because I'm pretty sure I've seen one, but is there a canine division of the police department?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 4 canine officers. They've been with us, not the same ones naturally, but we've had a canine program for over 30 years. We were one of the first departments in this area to have a canine program. We've always had 4 teams, which consist of a dog and its handler. The dogs go home with the handlers. They live with them. They come to work every day. Ironically, most people don't know this, but Ben Roethlisberger, you know who he is. Some people do.
Some people know who he is.
He's been known. Some people
He's known around here.
Right. He has a program, it's called the Giving Back Fund, where he donates money for canine dogs to police departments, naturally in Pittsburgh, but also in any city where he plays, where the Steelers play. He donates money to the canine program or to the police departments or to the fire and EMS departments. Currently, we have 4 canine dogs, and all 4 are Ben Roethlisberger dogs. We've been you apply every year when you need a dog. So naturally, it just came to pass. Ironically, we have 4 Ben Roethlisberger dogs right now.
Is he aware of that?
I did send them a letter to the Giving Back Fund. I notified them and thanked them naturally, and made them aware of the fact that we have their dogs.
Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure that you probably know the answer to this, but has there ever been a loss of a canine officer?
Yes. Yes, there has. Joker was his name. I believe that the scenario, if I remember right, was a car thief, abandoned the car, took off running in through the woods. The canine handler released the dog to find the individual, and at that point in time, the individual stabbed the dog to death with a screwdriver. That was a number of years ago. Unfortunately, that's the only dog we have lost.
Okay. Now, what are the qualifications to become a Penn Hills police officer?
Time to read the book again. And that's on our webpage.
It's on our webpage.
Okay, the principal requirements for a police officer: you have to reach the age of 21. You must be a U.S. citizen, possess a diploma from accredited high school or a graduate equivalency diploma, be physically and mentally fit to perform the full duties of a police officer, submit proof of successful completion of MOPEC training. That's Municipal Police Officer Education Training I talked about earlier.
Yes.
They set all the standards for training for police. Individuals can go to the academy on their own, and they get a letter of certification and saying they can be certified as a police officer if you hire them. So we have to have that letter, or if you have prior experience, we'll hire you naturally. Possess a valid Pennsylvania driver's license, have no visible tattoos that can be seen wearing a short sleeve shirt.
Okay.
Right. But
No
that's
face tattoos.
yeah, pretty much. Although it's an issue sometimes because we do have a lot of young military folks come out of the military and they have the tattoos, the full sleeves and things like that, and we just don't accept that. So we tell folks going into it, We know you can't have tattoos that are visible below if you wear a short sleeve shirt.
Or you wear a short sleeve shirt, so
Exactly.
anywhere like so about right
Correct.
there. No full arms.
Right.
Now, what are the benefits of being a police officer in Penn Hills?
Well, actually, the benefits actually, I have it written here again that we just said the qualification, you graduate high school. We don't require college education. So an individual coming out of high school, well, not we have to be 21 naturally,
Yeah.
or GED. Our starting pay for a patrol officer, brand new on the job, makes $66,000 a year.
Oh, phew, I'm in the wrong line of
You
business.
ready?
Yeah, I heard say
Yeah, and that's a starting pay, and then they get increases every year for 4 years until they reach full pay then.
Okay.
So it's very, very beneficial as far as pay goes. They have a pension plan that they pay into if they wish. Hospitalization, they only pay a small portion for hospitalization.
Okay.
We have a life insurance policy. Depending on the number of years in service, you have paid vacation.
Okay.
After you get your first year on the job, you get 2 weeks. And depending on the number of years, you get up to 6 weeks vacation.
Okay.
You put in 25 years to get that, but it's still worth it, you know.
Oh.
Sick leave, you get sick leave, paid sick leave, 15 days a year. And you can accumulate those days over a period of
Can
years.
carry 'em over.
You can carry up to 125 days of sick leave.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then actually get a uniform allowance to pay for uniform, to give you your uniform to begin with, which cost your municipality about $4,000 to outfit a police officer. And then every year after that, the officer gets $800 to maintain that uniform or replace the uniform. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what final words would you like to leave us with today?
Final words. Wow. I enjoy being here to talk to your audience, explain somewhat what the police officers do and the respect we have from the community, but also the respect we give back to the community. And I think it's important for people to know that. But I also think it's important with this technology we're using today, like a joke about YouTube and things. Folks have to be aware of all the scams going on out there with the technology. For the younger members of the audience, be careful what you put out there because once it's out there, it doesn't come back.
It's out there.
Right. You know, it's a shame we have so many youngsters that are involved with this, what they call sexting, you know, and the photographs and things like that. And these young kids don't understand that it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Also, I ask the youth to be inquisitive, question. Don't believe everything. You know, just because it's on YouTube or Facebook or whatever you're using, chat room, whatever it may be.
Oh, yeah.
It's not real. You know, you look and question. We had a case where an attempted child abduction was reported. We investigated it. We found out what the story was behind it, and it was cleared. Not a problem. Solved the issue. 2 weeks later, investigative lieutenant gets a phone call from a lady explaining about this child abduction. And he's talking to her. It turned out same place, same area. He's looking at it, listening. He says, "Wait a minute. We cleared that one up 2 weeks ago." "Oh, no, you didn't." "Well, yes, we did." "Well, no, this is new. I just read it on Facebook." "Well, no, that's not it." "Well, yes, it is. It's on Facebook.
It's on
It must be true. It's on Facebook."
It's always true if it's on
exactly.
Facebook.
And that's what I'm trying to get across to folks. You know, just because it's out there, you question it. Question. You know, the youngsters today do some critical thinking. Think about what's being said. It's common sense if you have such a thing. If it's,
Some people
if it's,
don't.
Exactly. If it's too good to be true, it's not true.
And sometimes it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, even for this can even go for adults too.
Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, the scams on the elderly, and again, I think what it is, the elderly, it's not, I shouldn't say elderly. One of my officers wrote a report one day, and the victim was 60 years old, and he listed the person as being elderly. And I'm reading the report, and I'm, wait a minute, you know.
Hold on a second.
How old do you think I am? You know? Kind of put things in perspective.
Yeah, I understand.
yeah,
I used to
yeah.
think 30 was so old until I
Till you got there.
exceeded it. I'm beyond 30 now, but once you realize it, you're like, it's not that old.
It's only a number, yeah. But I think that's what I want the folks to do, because the older folks, they want to get into this technology. They want to use the computer to show how good they are and what they can keep up with.
Yeah.
But they're also prey to it because they don't understand Just because someone sends you a email or something that looks like your bank, you know, they spoof it, use the things, and it thinks, oh, that's my bank, they want to know what my Social Security number is. Well, they don't think my bank already has my Social Security.
Yeah, the bank, the IRS, there's all types of emails.
Exactly, and the way they put it in and type it in to show how smart they are, how up to speed they are with technology, and they're being scammed. So again, for your audience, be careful.
Yeah, be careful for the phishing emails.
Right, exactly.
Now, let's thank Chief Burton for carving out some time in his very busy schedule to talk with us about our police force.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, you can check out my Facebook page for a listing of where to get help. And if you would like to be a part of our live studio audience, please join us next month on Saturday, March 3rd at 11 a.m. for our live broadcast. You can always go to my church website for more information on this show or see a replay on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those fun sites. This has been Talk with an Angel with yours truly, Angel McGinnis, and I'll see you next time.